All right, darling.
Hi.
Tell us what we're doing today.
Today we're doing the best bits of Paris walking tour, and we're going to be spending 5 hours with Johan. He'll walk us around and jump on public transport, obviously, to get between places. But this is our meeting point.
We're here half an hour early.
Lovely.
It's a lovely spot, isn't it? And as you can see, at 9:30 in the morning, it's only the very few people that are going to work. I mean, lots of people going to it, but I mean, there's nobody on the streets yet. It's only the workers. Okay. So we're not going to that one. It's a little bit expensive, is it, darling? Is that the one that all the movie stars go to? Ah.
Go and sit on the other side of the road.
There you go. Cafe de Flore. Oh, the next one, is it? Okay, pay no attention to me, I'll give you a bum steer. You really have to monitor what you're doing in Paris. We went to Cafe Louise to get a coffee, and it was, a cappuccino was €8. I know that sounds a bit tight, but anyhow, that's what, I don't know, $14 Australian or 13.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be cheaper than the place across the road. This one here. Wow. Okay, this is how we're going to start our tour today. Have a nice coffee. Have a go at the breads here. Look at these.
That is fabulous.
And for those that are on a diet, don't they look insane?
Don't they what?
Wow.
Yeah, beautiful. Just beautiful. Lovely ladies. Are you making your coffee?
We're just about to start our walking tour of Paris. You excited?
Yes. Lots of walking ahead of us. Just going to start off by doing a little mini walk for our own.
It's only 5 hours, that's all. Then we come home and we go to the tennis for 4 hours. It's going to be easy.
These merchants came from 3 places in particular: Portugal, Turkey, and as far as China. And that's why when I was talking about the Silk Road, you got 2 Chinese merchants made out of wood for the Yin dynasty. But that's not the first dynasty that comes here. The first dynasty is the Yang dynasty. So like we said, 3,500 BC. Yeah, really, really cool. Now to get into a place like this, literally all you do is line up. And once you get in, they come and worship it for good harvest in the spring. Then in 1884, this was built. Now the only reason why people came here because it had a central heating system. Because in the old days you didn't have central heating in your apartments, so you'd come here to keep warm. But that attracted the people to come here. And look who came. Ernest Hemingway. Him and Scott Fitzgerald, they were best friends. They used to come here all the time. Ernest Hemingway and his wife. One of his wives, I should say. This is Picasso and Guillaume Apollinaire, who's his best friend. He was known as a cubist artist, a poet, and also a collector of ancient African antiquities. A lot of his stuff you can go see at the Orangery, which is just outside the Louvre. That's where you have Monet's numbers. Pretty cool. And then you got Picasso as he got older. Now, does anyone know her?
Is that Brigitte?
Yes, Brigitte Bardot. So she's known as the Audrey Hepburn of France. She was a famous actress, a model, and animal activist. She was like horse. Yeah.
So we're supposed to be going to the most beautiful gardens in Paris. And just the entrance gives you that impression straight away. So they've set up some ropes and Olympic rings over there for the people to just come and exercise. This is lovely.
It's like one of those hour stories.
Size area over there.
Yeah.
This is a Tai Chi and Kung Fu area on the weekends. So you see people around here. Tennis courts, beekeeping school over there, puppet theatre, restaurants, basketball courts, ponies for the kids on the weekend as well. So it's pretty much a place anyone can come to. But in the old days, this was the house and gardens of a lady by the name of Mary de Medici, from the Medici family in Florence, Italy. She's one of two Medicis that were actually married into the French monarchy. The famous bankers, if you know of them from Florence, they sort of were known to be farmers, and then they found a way to store salt, which was the currency at the time. Okay, and that's how they became very wealthy. Now, her husband Henry IV is assassinated in 1610, and she becomes regent, and that means that she's in charge of her son Louis XIII. Now, if you don't know who he is, he's the king of the Three Musketeers. So if you know this story, he's got, there's a guy by the name of Cardinal Richelieu. He's a really bad guy, works for the church, wants to become a dictator, that sort of thing. Tortures a lot of people, that sort of thing. Now he causes the rift between mum and son. Mum gets homesick and she makes this whole garden based on a Petit Palazzo in Florence in Italy, and the Botanical Gardens. It is huge. Yeah. So anyway, come this way. Higher with all the different flags of the world. You got fish in the pond, you got duckies that come in as well. So essentially, they're not remote control. You literally have to push them with a stick.
Oh.
And then they float, and you. This is a pirate one.
That's what those kids do.
Yeah. So he like pushes it. Like in summer, this gets packed because you have like a whole bunch of them, like hundreds of them. It's just like playing adults as well.
It's top of beautiful. What is it, darling?
It's the Medici fountain in Luxembourg Garden. Jardin du Luxembourg.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? This is just stunning.
A waterfall, okay? This is supposed to look like a grotto, so behind a waterfall. You've got the two nymphs. They symbolise the two rivers in France, the River Rhone and the River Seine. Seine is a feminine word, and that's why it's a lady. And this is an ancient Greek myth. This is Polyphemus. He's the son of Poseidon. He's a cyclops, if you look a bit closer. And he's in love with this lady down here. Her name's Galacia. So she's half human, half god. She's a demigod. She's a bit like Hercules. But she's not in love with him. She's in love with this guy, Axis or Acis. So star-crossed lovers, a bit like Romeo and Juliet, but it doesn't last because he's jealous. He throws a huge boulder, it crushes Axis, but because Galacia is half human, half god, she changes Axis into a river spirit for all eternity. So everything to do with this fountain is to do with emanating flowing water. It's really cool. The Arc de Triomphe. So, guys, this is known as Place Étoile, also known as Star Square. The reason why it's called Star Square, there's 12 avenues which go all the way around the Arc de Triomphe. It's one of the largest roundabouts in the world, aside from one in Indonesia, not far from Australia. There's one rule on Place Étoile, and that is, there are no rules. You literally can do anything you want. You can go forward, backwards, sideways. You can go around that way if you like. I've seen it happen. You can run across, crawl across. Look at the guy on his right. You can go around the bus while it is going straight. I've seen it happen. But if you have an accident on Place Étoile, it's 50-50. Peugeot, Ferrari, still 50-50. And the insurance companies don't go past the traffic lights unless you pay a high premium. My cousin has lived here her whole life. She refuses to go on this.
Yeah, I imagine.
And when you go on your first driving lesson in Paris, guess where they take you?
Here?
Yeah.
Good God. No.
Who Dares Wins. There was a TV show in Australia in the 90s. But anyway, tells you how old I am. Anyway, look, let's have a look at this. Does anyone know a guy by the name of Napoleon Bonaparte? Yeah? Short guy on the horse, that sort of thing? So officially, he's the height of Tom Cruise. 5'6", 5'7". He's not that short. Now, he's in a place called Austerlitz in 1805. He's against 20,000 Russians and Austrians. He thinks he's pretty smart. They're on a frozen lake. He fires hot cannons into the frozen lake. 20,000 drowned. He's celebrating at night time with his secretary. He says this is the happiest day of my life. Decides to give himself a present. Voila, the Arc de Triomphe. Now, unfortunately for him, he didn't get a chance to see it finished because by about 1821, being kicked out of France for being a naughty boy in Europe. He ended up dying of cirrhosis, degradation of the liver, fatty liver disease, too much alcohol, too much fatty foods, but also he died of lead poisoning. In the old days, everyone used to wear makeup lined with lead. They didn't know that it was poisonous. Now, let's have a look at this. So, you have 30 shields which go all the way around the Arc de Triomphe. They're all the countries that Napoleon conquered in his time. They're all in Latin or English. As you come down to the left, this is the Battle of Austerlitz. To the right, that's the battle against the Ottoman Empire. As you go further down, this is the Roman goddess Bellona. She's the goddess of war. And to the left, that's the Roman goddess Victoria, crowning Napoleon on his head. And as you come further down in the center, they're all the generals that worked for Napoleon. The ones that are underlined are the ones that died in battle. And as you come further down, there never used to be anything there. Well, after World War I, you have the tomb of the unknown soldier. Now that has a flame that never goes out, but it did go out once. 1998 FIFA World Cup, France versus Brazil. France wins, and a spectator decides they're going to pee on the flame and put it out.
Oh no.
So everyone knows where the unknown soldier is, but no one knows what happened to that spectator after that night. The Pantheon. So originally this was built as a church dedicated to Saint Genevieve, which is one of the patron saints of Paris. So this mountain is hers, and the other patron saint is Saint Denis. His church, or his mountain, is Montmartre. Okay? Now it was built by Louis XV. So you got Louis XIV, the Sun King, Louis XV, the Fun King, and Louis XVI, the Dumb King. Okay? Some fun done. So Louis XV, it's a bit of a party animal, has 300 mistresses that we know of. 27 illegitimate children to 16 ladies that were given Madame de Titre, Madame of Title. It's the first time in French history where someone from middle class could move up through the ranks, and they were usually women. Okay? So look, he's on his deathbed, he gets syphilis. Wonder why. Okay? He's on his deathbed and he prays essentially to the end. He says, if you free me, I will make it the most beautiful church known to man. Gets better the next day, but then ends up dying of smallpox, so he doesn't really escape it. But in the process, he built this. Okay? So originally built as a church in 1764, but then fast forward to the French Revolution, they didn't want churches anymore. So this was then made into a secular mausoleum. And that means where all your very famous people in France are buried. So you got Victor Hugo, Marie Curie, the famous physicist and chemist, she's in there with her husband Pierre. She's known to be lined with lead because they say she's radioactive. She was experimenting on radium, which is 1,000,000 times more radioactive than uranium. Apparently it lasts for like 1,600 years. That's pretty great. Yeah, so she's in there. You also have a famous American, Josephine Baker. Does anyone know her? Yeah, African-American cabaret dancer and singer. She came here in 1926. She had the banana skirt. That's what she was known for. She would sing at the Moulin Rouge and all that. Now, World War II, she becomes a spy for the Allied forces. She's a tough cookie. She would dance for the Nazi occupation. She would take notes in invisible ink and then pass it on. It's one of the only ladies that survived this ride. So after World War II, they gave her a passport and a French citizenship to say thank you. So yeah. So she's not actually in there. She's in Monaco where she was buried. They brought dirt from Missouri and put it in her tomb because the family didn't want to move her. But you also have Alexandre Dumas, the Count of Monte Cristo, Three Musketeers, Voltaire, Emile Zola. They're all in here. It's really cool, guys. Highly recommended if you get a chance to go to this place. And Marie Curie's museum is just down there as well. Not far from Emily in Paris's place. Yeah. Anyway.
Best bits of Paris tour with Johan, walking the streets of the Latin Quarter, learning all about Paris and the history. It's just sensational.
It's really good, isn't it?
It's great.
Is he a real person or not?
Yes.
Yes? You think? Maybe? Maybe? Okay, yeah, he's a real person. Yeah. He was an alchemist and a philanthropist, not a mortal. So their restaurant, which is very similar to this, is called the Maison de Nicolas Flamel. You can go there, have a Harry Potter cuisine. It's for adults, for children, but adults can do it, confessions. But J.K. Rowling, she used to get a lot of inspiration from Paris because she lived here when she worked as a lawyer for Amnesty. So you'll see, I'll send you some information about that. There's a Diagon Alley and all that too.
This is just stunning. There's no word.
See the line from the top goes down to the ground, and then on the ground it goes like this, all the way to the other side. So one time every year, the sun will shine through the window. You see those 3 black boxes at the top on the right hand side? The top one, you see how there's like a hole? the sun will shine through that onto this line. So you've got 2 equinoxes every year, March and September, and then you've got 2 solstices, June and December. This is pretty
Now we leave the church and we're off on the train to go to lunch.
Still in the Latin Quarter, we're now going into the restaurant section of the Latin Quarter. All your restaurants from all around the world, including, of course, McDonald's. Now, who here likes crepes? Crepes? Yeah? Okay, come this way. I'll show you one of the best street food crepes apparently.
We like crepes.
É só para si pochear.
Owned since 1761. To give you an idea, Australia wasn't founded until 1788. So what they specialise in is making chocolate into animal shapes, like sardines, frogs. You just missed Easter. In Easter you get the big hens, and you got the bears, you got the rabbits and all that too. Love hearts at the moment, but they're also very famous in terms of lollies as well. You got caramels, bonbons, which are your marzipan lollies. So it's an almond pate made into different shapes, like shapes like this. Then you got the beetles. You also got fruits around as well. Love hearts, so it's pretty cool. Also nougat as well. Started off as a husband and wife chocolatiering team. The husband unfortunately died early on in the process, and then the mother taught her 4 children how to make the chocolate. Hence why.
It'd be nice to come and listen to some jazz, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We'll have to ask him, do you need the book or just come? Nina Simone.
Oh.
Person. It's all in Gothic architecture. So you can see the gargoyles, the protectors of evil spirits. When it rains, it's actually an irrigation system. The water will come out of the mouth of the gargoyles and go down here, which is very important in terms of construction because historically, the reason why buildings like this last forever is because in the old days they used to put lime cast inside the concrete. So when the rain came, the water would react with the lime cast and the concrete would get stronger over time. We're sort of looking to apparently to reincorporate this into we'll see how it goes. Pretty amazing. Now this is part of one of my favourite museums in Paris, the Medieval Museum of Paris. So you got the Roman bards, you got tapestry in there, beautiful medieval sort of garments and armour, all that sort of stuff. It's really cool. But anyway, come this way. We'll go check out the Roman bards. This is a new shop. I'll show you the best place for a little bit of shopping to go to. Now, this is actually one of the biggest bookstores in Paris. That's that whole building. But anyway, this way. So feel free to take your photos. If you want me to take a photo, let me know. You also can go up here and take some photos as well if you wanted to. So I'll give you a few minutes just so you can go get some photos and stuff, and then I'll tell you a bit about the history, and then we'll talk about the fire as well. Political, cultural and religious centre. So you got permission from Archbishop Sully, and then the Pope Alexander III, and then they blessed the cornerstone. But very similar to a lot of the other churches in France, this used to be, well mainly Paris, this used to be a pagan temple, then a Romanesque church, then a Catholic Christian church. Okay? Now the reason why it's Gothic, everyone knows about the gargoyle, the protectors of evil spirits. But it's that and 3 other things. Number 1, you got the biblical kings here. You got 28 biblical kings. That's number 1. Number 2, the saints in the doorways, which you can't really see here because of the renovation, but that's the number 2. And number 3, the flying buttress, which essentially are these columns which go all the way around. They provide support so you can have very high roofs and large windows. So those 3 things, plus the gargoyles, is what makes it Gothic. Now, French Revolution, the revolutionaries hijacked the place, made it into a wine cellar, and they went through, cut off all the heads of all the kings and stored them on the other side of the Latin Quarter. That wasn't found until just after World War II. But Napoleon, before he was crowned inside, put new heads on all the kings before he was crowned inside. Anyway, let's go over here, let's get in the shade, and let's look at the photos of the fire, and I'll tell you a bit about that. Okay, we keep walking through, have a look at the photos.
Wow, so this wall shows you the devastation of the fire and the reconstruction. So, got a lot of glare on it, but it's the best I can do.
Over here. So, does everyone see that brown cell building in the distance with the yellow lights? This cafe just there? That's Carrette, C-A-R-E-T-T-E. That's the best macaroons in Paris, according to the French. Okay, you got one here, one in Montmartre, and one in La Marais. They still make everything in Paris. So, salted caramel's the favorite. La Durée Fiamme are good as well, but they've gone a bit more commercial. So it's up to you. You try it out and see what you think. But according to the French, they're the best ones.
Okay, here we go. We're going to the secret spot to get your photo of the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, the tree.
Look at this. Now you're talking.
Good brownie. This kind of weather, right? Well, pretty amazing, eh? So 1886, France is getting ready for the World Fair of 1889 to commemorate 100 years since the French Revolution. And before this, there was nothing there. They had a competition that went out. They wanted something to act as the entrance to the World Fair that had to be 1,000 feet. That was the particulars. Okay? So the competition goes out. They come up with 3 things. 1, a giant sprinkler system. 2, a giant wall. And then the 3rd, a giant guillotine. They go, no, too soon since the French Revolution. We'll go for something else. Imagine that. So this guy's name is Gustav Eiffel. He's a pretty prolific engineer. He's born in Dijon, where mustard comes from, Dijon mustard. He has the idea of making something beautiful and structurally amazing, and that's why in the engineering world, I don't really talk about it on the tour, but actually my first studies was as a mechanical engineer, so I grew up like loving this because it's amazing, because it's art and engineering put together. So yeah, he has the idea of making something made out of iron, 1,200,000 rivets, 18,500 pieces. Yeah, there's nothing to surpass it to the Chrysler building about 45 to 50 years later. And the tallest monument before this was the Washington Monument at 165 meters. So look, he goes to these people running the competition. They ask him one question: how much is it going to cost? And he says about $1 million. They say, look, we can give you about 1/3 of it. He says, that's fine. Takes the 1/3. He goes around asking for people to donate to his cause. Guys, in the end, it ends up costing him $31 to $32 million. If you were to equate that to now, 925 to 930 million, almost $1 billion. He almost goes broke making this, and luckily he became pretty famous with a type of engineering called modular engineering. Essentially, for the engineers that are here, you know what I'm talking about, but if you were to put Lego blocks together to make something, that's modular engineering, Okay, so he got pretty well famous doing it. So he used all that money to make this. He almost goes broke. Now, he starts doing the works, but like any story, he has 3 problems. Number 1, initially the Eiffel Tower is not here. They're gonna build it behind, in front of a building called École Militaire. That's the military school of France. You can imagine what they said. Pas possible, we cannot do this. It's in front of the military school. We said, well, where can we put it? Where it is now, in front of the Seine River. But that comes problem 2. In those days, that is swampland, which meant waterlogging. The lakes would go into the ground and fall over, be a complete disaster. So Gustav Eiffel, being the genius he was, he invented the first of its kind, 4 hydraulic systems underneath all 4 of the lakes to keep it level. Within 2 years, 4 months, 1 week, it was completed, bar 1 casualty. That's huge, guys. Everything was done by tightrope pulling systems. We don't have cranes or anything that we have now. And that one person was a worker that went up drunk to show it to his friend. So, we're not going to count. But it was a huge feat, guys. It was amazing.
Darling, well, that was the completion of our walking tour of Paris. What did you think?
Well, it certainly was the best bits of Paris, with an exceptional guide, very knowledgeable, extremely informative, great storytelling ability, and like I don't feel exhausted. I feel like we've walked a lot. We've done, I don't know, 14,000, 12,000 steps or something. But you stop, you have a little snack, like a little lunch. It covers all the big tourist spots. And it was raining today, and we still enjoyed it. Like, you know, sometimes the rain puts a dampener on things. Today was fantastic.
It was great, wasn't it?
It was just fantastic.
Even in the rain. Darling, so if you like this video, what do you do?
Give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. See you in the next one.
Where are we?
We are at Bobbin Head in the Coringo Chase National Park.
Beautiful.